Happy New Year. I have a New Year message for you. A message that I have titled Life Keeps Moving. So must you. Life keep moving. So must you. It's 2021. But there is nothing magical or that special about January 1. Nothing whatsoever. You see, a combination of COVID 19 and the rapid emergence of the fourth digital revolution made 2020 one of the most disruptive, volatile, unpredictable, and uncertain years ever known to man. What a year. Many businesses and empires rose and fell. Many. Governments and global economies have been brought to their knees. Many individuals and families could not wait for year 2020 to come to an end, as indeed it has. Happy New Year. Sadly, the virus is reported to be resurging, even with new variants. Consequently, a great part of 2021 could actually turn out to be just like 2020. That's the truth. Despite the gloom in 2020, however, there were some triumphs. There were countless stories of human resilience, even as Africa has been spared the worst of the virus. It's instructive to remember too that while vaccines brought some hope, the pace at which the vaccine is being rolled out in rich nations shows clearly that poorer countries will take longer to emerge from the crisis. But as I shared in my book, Leading Through Crisis, one of the questions that struck me early as the pandemic took root mid-March 2020 was, is the lockdown a threat or an opportunity? My answer was, the lockdown is an opportunity. You see, life is like a camera. It is critical to focus on what is important, capture the good times, develop the negatives, and if things don't turn out well, like the coronavirus, you lost a job or business loss, just take another shot. Take another shot. Click. Life, by the way, never gives us what we want. It always gives us who we are. Life gives us who we are, not what we want. Never forget that. So, while I acknowledge the significant impact that the pandemic and related lockdown of the world had on lives and businesses as inclusive, you must figure out your next step as you go into 2021. You see, life keeps moving, so must you. Regardless of what you do or choose not to do, life keeps moving. This is important because everything begins in the form of a thought. Everything begins in the form of a thought. Everything is truly created twice. First in the mind, and then that thought activates action that results into a physical form. You are the only one that can stop you in 2021. Just as Charles Robert Darwin said in his famously quoted words, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. That is how so many people turned what could have been a disastrous 2020 into a miraculous story of survival and tenacity. They adapted to the changes as the normal continued to change. Everyone wants a better year, even if the previous year was good for them. However, in order that this does not become just a desire or an effort in futility, it is important to recognize that Happy New Year can't be a renewal of the calendar or clock, but a renewal of our mind. What are you thinking differently from the lessons learned in the recent past? What are you doing differently from the thinking that you have done, from the lessons learned? That is the way to truly have a happy new year. The year that just went by was new at some point, remember? So a new year doesn't magically change things for you. The new year actually opens a new page for you to begin to write a new chapter for your life. And until you begin to do things differently, nothing is going to change for the better for you, regardless of the resolutions you make, or it's been January 1. For example, if you have an attitude of anger, if you do not deliberately change that attitude, then you are not giving God the opportunity to work in your life, even though it's a happy new year. There are 3 key lessons for bringing your resolutions to life that I'd like to share with you. 1, You need to understand the will of God. This really is the first step. What do you believe is God's will for you in 2021, for example? So rather than getting involved in the euphoria of Happy New Year 2021, it is more productive to stay at God's feet, to discern His will for you this year. Secondly, you need to make the most of every opportunity. There will be many opportunities this year, I tell you, in spite of the grave economic situations that 2020 brought about. But you must be discerning to take advantage of the opportunities that will show up for you this year. Thirdly, time is not inexhaustible. So you need to redeem time. You can't afford to waste time this year. In actual fact, each second or minute you spend unwisely would hinder fulfillment of your New Year resolutions. Like I said earlier, it is already going. The year is already going. You have to maximize the moment you get. As we go through a new year, starting all over again, as many equate the new year with, it's not what is important. What is most important are the lessons we've learned from 2020 and the growth we have achieved from the pain, the losses, the protests, and even the death all around us. Starting a new year without the benefit of lessons learned and growth achieved would be like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. This year, we must not count the calendar, but focus on truly being changed. Let me wrap this up with some words gleaned from my brother, Dr. Femi Omolu's New Year post, and I love this. And he said, 2020, a very instructive year, stole a lot from us all, taught a lot to those who chose to learn, gave a lot to those who sought opportunities. In all, one can only be thankful and press on into the future. The best way to do so is hand in hand with God, and with hopeful smile, a helping hand, and prayerful heart for your fellow sojourner in this earth. End of quote. I am more optimistic about 2021 than I have ever been. I have been around for some years now, so I know that. May 2021 be a glorious and fulfilling year for you and all yours in Jesus' name. Happy New Year. Life is moving on. So must you.